Welcome back. My name is Railgun Intern, and today we're joined with Jake and Matt. And so let's start with Jake. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Why development? Why Railgun? And what excites you about Railgun?
I started as a little teenager trying to mess with websites, probably like 12. I had like a $50 gift card from Christmas, one of those Visa things, and downloaded a Bitcoin wallet and tried to buy it. But I thought I was gonna get scammed. I actually asked my mom first and she said not to do it, so I skipped it. I was like 2011. Didn't do it. Fast forward to college. Did development some through high school. I stuck with it. I knew I wanted to make something. I wanted to be more product facing, something people actually use. But I was super into politics. I'm a super political person. So I would help like local county commission campaigns, etc. So I really did care about more power to the people kind of thing. And then this eventually ended up blending in. But in college, got an internship. I was at Loopring for a summer. That was my first crypto, like proper position. That was like one of the original ZK proof using protocols. Then I stuck with it after that. So this is like circa 2019. Kept in crypto, kept developing weird funky stuff. And I was like, well, I could blend this care of, power to the people kind of thing somehow after I met these Railgun people. Just so happens at a conference in the States, they said they needed some help. And I was like, you know what? This actually is perfect. I would love to go there and not plan on bouncing anywhere else quickly. So here we are. I've been here for a few years now and been helping in every corner I can of making sure people have the right to privacy without, while being able to prove that they're not bad guys. You can close the curtains and doesn't mean you're doing bad stuff inside your house.
Is there anything specific that excites you about Railgun, what you're currently working on?
Yeah, so actually, the compliance aspect of it, so PPOI, I really do like. I really do respect the system. It's a huge effort across so many different feats, whatever, the last few years, putting together security researchers, etc., to make sure that you can prove someone is not a bad guy without taking all of their information. No KYC, looks at the fund, looks at the wallet, you're good. And then, of course, the developments we have going on are super exciting with gas savings and the DeFi interactions that are coming that will be able to happen inside of the private wallet with private funds. Looking forward to that.
All right, awesome. Thank you. And Matt, same question. Why development? Why Railgun? And what excites you about it?
I'm from Argentina, so I studied here in La Matanza University, and I was always very into computers, everything tech related. Since I was a kid, I used to fix iPhones and computers at my place when I was, 12 or 13. So I was really into tech since day one. And yeah, I got to study computer science in Danza University here in Argentina. Then I was able to get my first job as a developer in a software factory for Web2 products called Wologs. Then it got acquired by Accenture. It was very nice there. I learned a lot from that period of time. I learned how to do front-end and mobile development and a lot of TypeScript, and to get also mentor other developers, and so I really had a great time there. And then so that was a software factory, right? And then I wanted to move to more of a product approach, right, instead of jumping between projects. And I moved to Simplit, that it was a Web2 company, not really crazy, but it was fine. And then after that, I was really into crypto. So like I said, I'm from Argentina, so I actually know how it feels to have a currency that doesn't have any value at all, and every day it gets less value. So I was really into, let's take the power out of these guys being the government, right? So that's why I got really into blockchain and crypto. And I jumped into this, a friend of mine that was working in this project called Flake, He called me to join, and I did. And that's when I first got my hands on Web3 development, basically. I had a great time there, but I think a year or two after that, I just met some of the Railgun guys, and they needed someone like me. So yeah, I just joined. It's been years now since I joined. I'm really happy. Same as Shake, I try to help everywhere I can. Yeah, that's basically the story.
Excellent. And that previous experience of developing different platforms, has that helped, and how has that translated to Ethereum specifically?
I think it's great. I see some differences between me, that I come from a Web2 world, and other developers that they just started in the Web3 world. I think it's good to have that mix, because you understand what is good about the Web2 world, and because of that you actually understand what is bad about the Web3 world. So I think it's good. I think it's something that actually makes my work better. So yeah, it's good to have, at least in my opinion, right?
Awesome. So is there anything that you're working on right now, or anything about Railgun that excites you?
Yeah, so I think I'm very excited with all the work we are doing right now. I think the project has been there for a while. We learned a lot from it in all aspects, and we are going to this phase of remodeling and redoing a lot of, well, for example, the SDK. We're having this new organization called Railgun Reloaded, that it will just make everything better. It's already on the process. There's already things that are improving. So yeah, I'm very excited on that, to be honest. I think it's going to be great for the project, and also for the people who actually want to use our tech in their project.
So private proofs of innocence, it's a pretty big deal. Let's break it down. What is PPOI? How does it remain non-custodial? And why is it the secret sauce in Railgun's recipe? Why is it so important?
PPOI allows for telling the world that your money is unrelated to any criminal activity. This is not only through checks against a provided API from, well, a provided list from the US government, but it also integrates live updated lists of known bad actors on chain from all of the very popular security groups, you could say, or some various very trusted security groups that work on chain to track scammer and thieves of any sort, thieves, criminals, etc., that are known. And it tells the world using ZK proofs that your chunks of money that are inside Railgun are unrelated to criminal activity. It lets you move in and out cleanly. It cleanly can integrate with centralized exchanges. You can use it for proofs with tax software if you wanted, etc. It's there to be used by the world to tell people that Railgun is not some shadowy supercoder service. It is to be used by anyone who just wants privacy. The nature of blockchain is to be public, but of course should have the option for private payments, and PPOI allows for that.
Yeah, I think like the nature of blockchain kind of like it might not be very good for like payment, like for example, for you just use crypto to pay a debt to your friend, or if you're a company and you wanna like pay salaries or whatever. I think blockchain, it's not great at that, and I think Railgun provides these features, you could say, for you to be able to do that without losing, well, without putting all the data to the public, to the world, right? And the problem that has, it's that you don't want to put your money where criminals put it, right? So you don't want to get mixed with those people. So I think having PPOI, it's so key for the protocol, because it allows you to do all of these things that you won't be able to do it just in blockchain, and without you compromising like your integrity. You don't want to have your funds in the same place that scammers and terrorists have, right? So I think that's the real power of it.
That's awesome. And why is it a first of its kind technology?
Well, first of its kind, personally, I never follow too much. It's very possible that someone else was working on something like this, or had something similar integrated. But I think what's just the most unique about this software, this service, is the ZK aspect of it, the zero knowledge aspect. where the system does not store any details that could reveal anything about the sender of the private funds. Shields by nature are not private. You have to send the money in from a public 0x address. So your 0x address will always say your money went into Railgun. That's just how it is. You can't privatize that layer. That's totally okay though, because that's when the PPOI is formed. It sees where it came from, where the funds came from, and makes a proof for that. After that, when you're sending that private money around or you're unshielding, etc., there is no way to trace back where that came from. And this is another layer on top of the blockchain, mind you. So it's a proof of a proof, you could say. There's Railgun proofs on chain, and there's PPI proofs on top saying, hey, these Railgun proofs are safe and good to go. And it's in the same zero knowledge fashion as on chain. There is no way to trace those funds back, even with PPOI. However, they say those funds are good. So it's fairly novel in that aspect.
So next up, why is on-chain governance important?
I mean, for me, it's so important because you need to let the people have a voice. That's the whole point of all these communities, these protocols with communities, is the people need a voice in what goes on. And governance and Railgun certainly runs everything. I mean, it's all open and out there. And any of those proposals they go through, they're happening. I mean, people talk about the proposals that come up. A lot happens around the governance, and it rolls everything that happens through every corner of Railgun. So, you know, it is all open source at the end of the day, and the people need to have a voice. However, you can't give people a voice that don't have skin in the game. So you gotta have gotta have DAO tokens, and you have the DAO tokens, then you can speak, and it gives people a voice that actually want to be involved in the community and get stuff done.
I definitely agree with everything Jake just said. I think it's very important that the people feel included, that the project supporters have a voice, that they can make decisions, they can support, they can choose to support or not to support proposals. Also, it gives the project supporters a way to earn yield. So I think it's very well developed. You get tokens, you stake them, you support or not support proposals, you feel included. I think it's definitely very important and very key to the project. For example, with this Gnosis Guile mech proposal, right? They just wanted to participate, and they posted a proposal, it got voted, and it's a reality, right? And that's so powerful, and so powerful not only for the project, like I said, it's very powerful for the project supporters, right? They see that things with their vote get done. Yeah, I just feel that's very important. Like I said when I introduced myself, I'm from Argentina, and we feel that sometimes our votes don't do anything. So yeah, here you can actually see what your vote does, right? So I don't know, I just feel it's very good to have.
And just for sake of clarity, how do you become part of this governance? What do you have to do to be part of it?
Basically, what you need to do is you just need to go to a decentralized exchange and swap some, I don't know, any token that you have to get some REL tokens. And with those REL tokens, you should go to our governance portal and you connect your wallet, right? Like with any other D app, and you gotta approve the stake. You choose the amount that you want to stake. You approve the stake, and then you should stake it. And with that, for example, let's say you bought 100 REL tokens, then you have 100 votes, right? For proposals. So yeah, it's just that, but also you get to earn yield for staking. So you get the ability to vote for proposals and also to earn some yield in the process.
I also want to point on that part of the DAO, you could say, or the community really, is just being active in chats. You absolutely do not have to get DAO tokens and vote on proposals as the only way to have a voice in the community. Speaking in the Discord, speaking in the Telegram, of course, coming up to us at conferences that we attend, hackathons, is much more powerful in having a voice and talking about what needs done and what you'd like to see and talking about what's going on. The proposals are mostly around DAO funding, of course. So what is getting funded actively? And that's why it requires some skin in the game, because there are decisions around where protocol fees go for the DAO, from the DAO. But talking in the chats is the absolute best way. doing that first, especially too.
Yeah, I think it has different like approaches. Like in governance, it's more like related with like the smart contracts, right? And what can you like do with them? Like you propose something to do with those smart contracts, right? But like Jake just mentioned, if what you want to have a voice is not really related to that, like you can just go to the Discord, to the Telegram, to engage with us in X conferences and etc.
If you want to be a part of Railgun, you are now a part of Railgun. Just go in the chats and talk to us.
Excellent. Awesome. Now, you mentioned yields. Is there anything you can hint about the new reward calculation tooling or the new privacy dashboard upgrades?
Yeah, so we currently have our governance portal that it's good and it works okay in my opinion. But it's true that you cannot calculate your yield, right? And I think that's a very important tool to have. Like you mentioned, we're working on new UX, UI, new design, new everything for governance and Railgun in general, and that I'm actually very excited about it. And in those we are going to have a APR calculation, right? Because it really depends. Because basically, I'll explain how this works. Basically, 2% of the treasury, like the DAO treasury, it's split between all the Railgun stakers. So yeah, so for you to be able to kind of know your APR yield, you need to do some calculations, and we're going to add that to the new portal, so it's easy to see your rewards and your percentage, and also easy to know beforehand how is that APR looking like, right? Because I mean, let's be honest, right now there's a lot of ways for you to earn yield in crypto. So I think it's very important for us to show that percentage to the people before they actually want to invest in the tokens, in the project. But of course, one thing that I think we have is what we should talk about. It's basically the power to not only earn yield, to be part of the project and to make decisions.
So what are some of the challenges that you faced working with Railgun as an open source technology?
Interesting question. To think about that for a sec.
Yeah, very interesting question. In my opinion, I love to be part of open source community. I always like to share what I do with people who need it. So I'm very glad I'm part of it, and I don't know, I think I wouldn't right now to be part of a private project that doesn't share their code and they don't contribute to the community at all. So I like that part of it. Of course, it has difficulties, challenges, like you were asking. For example, your code, well, I mean, this is pretty obvious, right? But your code is public, so you gotta maintain some code quality, and you gotta like try to push yourself to make things work the best way possible, because you know other people is watching. And I think that's a good challenge to have, because it basically empowers the protocol, right? It empowers the code. So it's a nice challenge to have.
For me, it's really hard to think of challenges, because versus, corporate setting is just so much better. It's hard for me to find what I would consider a unique challenge other than what Matt just talked about. I guess the biggest challenge I see for us, though, is people that come in and are brand new and they don't know how to work things, and it happens almost for everybody. So it's almost like 100% hit rate of people that have to come and ask somebody questions to be able to get started, and trying to make the right resources for them to not have that happen, to be able to educate them or make tolling more obvious to use so they don't have to come in and ask questions, is really hard with this kind of tech. Maybe that's not specific to open source, but I guess actually, if anything, it's an advantage, because we have a community of people that are willing to help each other out and learn whenever they come in the chats. Yeah, finding a challenge specific to open source is a bit hard. Other than what Matt talked about.
Yeah, it's true that like Railgun SDK, everything related to Railgun is very complex. So in this scenario, having outsiders to go and share their opinion or their vision on how we do stuff. Of course, sometimes can be, I don't know, because I mean, it's great. Let's just say that it's great. Of course, sometimes you get some people that doesn't know everything and they just want to talk, of course, but it's just part of it, you know. But
Okay, yeah, there's a challenge.
yeah, that's a challenge. But in general, I think for this complex technology, it's great to have other eyes, right? So yeah, I kind of like that about how Railgun its layout, you could say.
So you've both mentioned how the technology Railgun is pretty complex, right? It's a little complicated. So how will Railgun Reloaded simplify the tech for new developers, people who want to build applications and wallets using Railgun?
Yeah, so I think right now, well, like I said in the beginning, we learn a lot from these few years that the protocol has been active. We have much better opinions and a lot of the things we do. And one of the things that we wanted to change for Reloaded, it's to make everything more like modularized, right? We want to split the pieces. We want to make like specific parts of the SDK for a specific job, and I think that will. I think that's itself a good decision to make, because it's easier to understand something by parts than the whole thing altogether. And also it's good for different kind of applications, right? Because the first thing that comes to mind when you are trying to use our SDK is to like just build a wallet, right? But there's other things that you could do that maybe right now it's a little bit tricky to do, because the whole thing is kind of made for you to build a wallet. So I think that's a very, very, very important aspect of this Railgun Reloaded change that we are doing. And of course, just general improvements in everywhere, you know, like code improvements, like actually performance improvements. So of course there's that, right?
I always think about that Microsoft guy on the stage screaming developers, 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 because he was right. And especially with these open source platforms, the whole model is centered, or the whole wheel is turning around people building on top of it. And something like Railgun that was built 3 years ago, I think roughly 3 to 4 years ago, it came out, you know, it was this really awesome thing that you could send money privately, and it worked. It was on chain. I think it's been version 2'd, but it worked really well, and everyone wanted to start building on top of it at the time that were really crazy about privacy tech, and stuff piled on top of it and making everything work together seamlessly with wallets and stuff. All that code just kept piling quickly. Now you have this code base of all these different corners that were very rapidly piled, and it's not as bad as I'm making it seem, but these things need cleaned up, because at the end of the day, it's developers. This stuff has to be clean and good for other people to build with really easily, and that's what keeps the wheel turning and gets the stuff out to the world. So unfortunately, you have to step back sometimes and say, okay, I can't keep building user-facing things just to keep pumping out cool new products when the engine that's under it is like squeaking and ticking and screaming. Like, I have to go back and clean that up so I can build better stuff around it. Otherwise, you're gonna be driving this beater car down the street that, like, it's doing the job, but you know, you gotta get stuff fixed up. You gotta take a step back sometimes, so we can make things that are much more seamless and available to the world. More user-facing products on top of Railgun.
It's just grabbing everything you learn from these few years, and just like, we know what needs to be improved, right? We've been dealing with it a lot. The protocol is very, very stable right now. Yeah, basically, we're just gonna take everything we learn from it and improve it. That's basically it.
If you think of it this way, there's probably sub 20 developers in the whole world that contribute to Railgun, maybe sub 30 in history that contribute to Railgun as far as like finished products. If the whole engine gets cleaned up, if the whole code base gets cleaned up and it's made much easier for other developers to jump in and build things, for what you've seen be created in the last 3 years, imagine 2 or 3 or 4 times as many people around the world working on it, because it's easier and they just flood in. So 50, I don't know, even 100 developers, people around the world building with it. Imagine what will come out of it. So we have to make it available for that, make that possible.
Yeah, we're basically improving the tools for them to shine.
Exactly. That's how I see it.
So lately we've been talking a lot about mechs and how it enables both atomic and non-atomic transaction types. It opens the path to diverse shielding optionality with theoretically any transaction type a Gnosis safe can do. What are your thoughts on mechs?
Well, first of all, I'm very happy that it happened in this way, right? It went through a proposal stage, it got a sponsor, it got approved. So I really like that happened, right? Because it can show to the world that if you have something solid, if you want to work, if you want to improve Railgun, you can go and make that happen. Or at least you can go and try, right? They tried, it went well. So in the Railgun governance aspect, I think it's great news. And more related to like the actual tech and what it enabled us. Yeah, I just think that this is great because Railgun it always has been private DeFi, right? Some people call it pre-fi, I think, but it's private DeFi, right? And sadly, we weren't able to perform a lot of like DeFi type transactions with our current setup. So this will enable total DeFi actions, right? For you to do like liquid staking and just trade on intent based protocols, transactions, just, I don't know, like cost swap, you know. So there's like a whole new things for Railgun users to do. So I think it's, at least I'm very happy that this is happening. It could eventually just be the default. So like if you're a DeFi user, you are probably using a lot of these new features that basically this new integration will unlock. Yes, I think it's great to have, and it's a step forward without a doubt to add privacy to all DeFi.
Awesome. Thank you. What does it mean for Railgun Connect?
Railgun Connect is going to transform the wallet experience of Railgun. It's going to be way more seamless to interact with the apps through the browser and the like.
Yeah, I think this is a step forward for Connect without a doubt, because it will basically, the whole idea of Connect is basically just have like an extension that connects to your Railgun wallet, and you can use your private balances with apps. I'm like an extension wallet that you will be able to connect to any D app and use your private balance, right? But the thing is that with current setup, you will be only performing atomic interactions, right? Like swaps and vault token deposits and all of that. But you won't be able to do non-atomic interactions, such as like I don't know, like liquid ETH staking in Lido, for example. So this is for sure a step forward to get that whole private DeFi experience, right? You're unlocking a lot of those interactions that were not possible for Railgun to handle, and now, well, not now, but they will now be able to handle those. It's unlocking a lot of new interactions for the protocol and for the users. So you probably will be able to use your private balance in most of the DeFi apps you use in your daily base.
Well, thank you guys for coming and talking about all of this. We've covered a lot, and hopefully this gives the community something to really sink their teeth into. Until next time, this is Railgun Intern, signing off.